of the alcohol, la 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 la. Just line 'em up and we will drink them all, la 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 la. But my mother always said, if you want to drink all day, you best start in the morning, son, 'cause that's the Irish way. We don't get drunk, we get awesome, and every other mother will agree. We don't get drunk, we get awesome, so order up around for you and me. We don't get drunk, we get awesome, and every mother best agree. We don't get drunk, we get awesome, so order up around for you and me, and you and me, and you and me. Let there be whiskey.
Hey, everybody! Welcome to Nerds with Alcohol. I'm Chris, and this is episode 276. Oh, wait, you know what? They can't hear you. Hold on. For some reason, it fucked up, so. Yeah. This does this all the goddamn time. All right, go ahead and talk now.
Sorry for the late
There you
start,
go.
everybody. This was totally my bad. I got held over late from work, and then I developed computer issues. So thankfully, I was able to get my computer rebooted, and hopefully this is not a problem, for the future, but we shall see.
Yeah, for once, it was your computer difficulties and not mine.
kidding.
Or technical difficulties, not mine.
I guess I can't complain too much. I haven't really had too many problems with this computer since I originally bought it, and it's about pushing 4 years old now. I think it's 3.5 years old, so it's probably about that time.
Yeah.
I'm trying to do something.
Hey, CD.
Hey, CD, good to see you. So it is 276, and we are in the virtual nerd basement. Everybody, welcome again. It is been a lovely couple of days here in the Detroit area. Thank you.
Yeah, had some thunderstorms yesterday.
Yeah, we did. We had some thunderstorms and there's some short but sweet ones. And then and the weather has been really, really nice compared to the week before, where it was kind of unseasonably warm here in Detroit.
Yeah, today was gorgeous.
Yeah, it was really great. So I don't know. Otherwise, it's been a week. How was your week?
It was good. We had our game on Friday night.
We did.
And that was a lot of fun.
It was.
And everyone's telling me that I need to name this episode Lore Dump because it was a lot of lore. And there's even more coming. So as you guys are investigating those books and all the info that you have. But yeah, CD, it's still up on Twitch, and I'll get it up on YouTube later this week. So you'll have a chance.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did find out though that you and Alexandra will both be missing the next two games.
Yeah, it's a real drag. I have to go to Indianapolis for work for the next game, and then the week after that, I was secured a body paint gig, and I thought I can miss a show for a good gig, but I didn't realize, I completely forgot that I would be missing the following one too, or the previous one to that. So unfortunately, yeah. So what was the plan then? What were you thinking?
The plan is now that we're just going to continue, and that Merrick Harris and Halt are going to be doing all the selling magic items and doing all the downtime activities for the next
paperwork.
Week. Yep, for the next week.
Doing the paperwork.
So
right on. That's probably
while you guys are doing that, then the rest of the group's going to continue like investigating things, researching the books, going to the library, things like that.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah.
I mean, you have those two things, and then Alexandra actually leaves for Scotland.
Yeah.
On the day of our next game, and then comes back the day after the game after that. So, as excuses go,
yeah, that's a pretty good one.
Yeah,
that is a pretty good one. So, I mean, if I was her, I'd love to go to Scotland. That's definitely a good reason to miss the game. If there's ever a reason to miss game, it's going overseas.
Well, my Facebook memory today was 5 years ago today. Renee and I were at the Cliffs of Moher in Ireland.
Yeah, I saw that on Facebook.
Oh man, that's still one of my favorite places in the world. That place was so gorgeous. But anyway, other than that, it was work, and had watched the Chelsea game on Saturday. Unfortunately, we lost on penalty kicks. DCFC won though, so it was up and down on that. But yeah, other than that, it was just a nice weekend. I got a call today from the golf store that my new clubs are in, so I can go pick those up hopefully tomorrow on my way home from work.
The golf store.
Well,
so let me ask you this.
I wasn't going to give the name because they don't sponsor. So
okay, let me ask you this: like when you get a new set of clubs, why are you getting that new set of clubs? Are you getting it because you just want a new set of clubs, or did the old clubs somehow wear out?
The clubs can wear out. The clubs I have are like 10 years old.
Okay.
And they can kind of deaden as you go, and technology changes and things get better. But one of the main reasons that I'm getting these new clubs is I actually went and got properly fitted for the first time for a set of golf clubs.
Okay.
So with my height, I knew that standard clubs were too short. So the clubs I had were, they call them plus ones. That means they are 1 inch long. All the shafts are 1 inch longer than a standard club.
Mm-hmm.
When I went and got fitted, it turns out I need plus twos. So my clubs are still an inch too short for me to comfortably golf the way I'm supposed to. So these new clubs are actually fitted to me for my height and my swing style to help me get the best loft, distance, and aim that I can get.
Okay.
I hit a fuck ton of golf balls to figure this out.
I bet. Because I mean, I did have a set of golf clubs, my own golf clubs when I was a teenager. My parents actually gave me or purchased for me a set of ladies size golf clubs because when I was like 12 or 13, I think it was like 12, I was too short for like full adult size, but I was too tall for children's size. So I actually had that. And you know, yeah, it was just something that I was like, I mean, they don't really wear out, do they? I mean, unless you bend them funny or something, you know. But I don't know, I'm just curious, I guess, you know. Did you answer the questions? But,
yeah. So how about you? How was your week?
It was a decent week. We're just really on full like holy shit mode with these floats going down to going down to the
Kryptonite core. Yeah, that's what I need on my clubs. Sorry,
definitely need some the Caddyshack trick clubs for sure. The 12 gauge, you know. Yeah, so we've been busting our asses on these floats. We've got roughly tomorrow, we've got a week essentially, or less than a week. So there's probably going to be some pretty late nights for the next few nights. Like I said, I was there till almost, I left at like 7:35, and I was like, oh, I'll probably get home right on time, and then ran into a little bit of traffic, and so hence running a little late to the start of the show. But we did have a bit of a tragedy, and it was it sucked a lot. I got news that a friend of ours, a friend of yours, a friend of mine, from different walks of our lives, passed away this last week. Our friend Jason Sweeney. I knew Jason from all kinds of different stuff, from the various nerd kind of based things in my life, Comic-Con and festival and everything else, and then or the various conventions. I think I met him at a con originally. And he actually, it was a weird coincidence, he was in the gaming group that I was in with Ed Rohn, who formerly who's been on our show several times. He used to be part of our Tavern Nights show. so I actually got to know him a little bit better when I was in that gaming group with him. And he passed away due to complications from cancer earlier, or late last week. I think it was Friday.
Yeah.
So he was also involved with Theater Bazaar. He was a big supporter of my friends Jade and Shadow. Jade had known him for a very long time, and looked upon him as a bit of a mentor and kind of type of person. So she was pretty devastated. He was a good guy. He's a good person. And
I knew him from Convocation.
Yeah. It was just a real bummer because I mean, I've had 2 hits like that recently, and it just sucks, taken too soon. He was cancer had spread to his spine, and his heart gave out after a bout of chemo.
Is that what it was?
So, so
I know he was fighting hard to walk again. He kept posting about that.
Yeah, the cancer had infiltrated to the point where it was painful for him to walk. So yeah, it was pretty bad. So, but he was fighting, and his spirits were high, and that's the real pisser right there, is things like that. So, but so unfortunately, he passed too soon, and just want to raise a drink to Jason Sweeney, and thanks, man. That's solid.
Yeah.
Speaking of, to move on to something a little bit brighter, a little bit better, what are you drinking tonight?
I am drinking a beer from one of my favorite local breweries. I've done several other things. I may have even done this one before when Jeremy made it, but it is one of my favorites that he makes. And actually, I just picked this one up today. Ran up there at lunch, had lunch up there, and then picked up a 4-pack for after work. And it is Meeseeks Pale Ale.
Really?
Yes, Meeseeks. Yes. I actually have a picture. I don't think I can get it. I meant to I can post it later, but I actually have a picture of the sign that they have up in the brewery. So that's actually what the label would look like if they did labels. But yeah, it is a pale ale. It has a really nice coppery color to it. It does have a little bit of a hop aroma, not a lot, not overpowering. I'm gonna take another sip here. And it is a extremely well balanced pale ale. It has a lot of hop flavor, particularly at the end. It finishes extremely dry, and it's got a little bit that's got that hop bitterness on the end, but it's got a lot of malt flavor as well. This is honestly one of my favorite beers. I'm glad that he never does this one and his ESB at the same time, because then I would just explode because I wouldn't know what to drink. But this is absolutely spectacular. I give this five bottle caps. This is honestly one of my favorite beers, and I think it's a fantastic rendition of that style.
Okay.
So yeah, if you're local to Michigan or especially the Detroit area, and you can get to Royal Oak Brewery, it is currently on tap there. Yeah, tell Jeremy hi and that I sent you.
All right, excellent.
You might even see me there. Yeah, I know, CD. It is a shame that they're only right here, but it is a fantastic beer. So, how about you? What you drinking?
Well, today I'm drinking actually a gift from Pete, from your brother-in-law Pete, from our Tavern Nights game. He brought this to the game on Friday night, and I opted to save it for the show. This is something I believe you have reviewed in the past too.
Yep.
It's called 9/11 Established Cider Donut Premium Small Batch Hard Cider, handcrafted in New York. It's a 16-ounce can. Here, I love the tall boy. Made from 100% fresh cider, treated can, gluten-free, 6.9. So it's a little bit higher.
It's a little high for you.
A little bit, I mean, 5.0 is usually the standard for a lot of these ciders, but some of them go to the 6.5. It's not, this is 6.9. It's a little bit higher, but still a really great cider. I mean, this is tasty as hell. When it says cider donut, they're not kidding. Holy smokes. Good stuff. I'm going to close my door here because I hear a lot of laughter in the other room. There we go. So yeah, it's a great cider. It's sweet, which I'm a fan of, and it's got this really great cinnamony kind of flavor, but it's sweet, but it's not too sweet. It's a pretty good cider, I'd say, for this kind of, for what I like, and I highly recommend. I can highly recommend this. This is really spectacularly good.
Yeah, I really like that one a lot.
Good stuff, yeah. So, from you, it was, what was it?
Me Seeks Pale Ale.
Me Seeks Pale Ale, of course, the reference from Rick and Morty, which I'm a huge fan of, and 9/11 Established Cider Donut. Where is it? Right here, cider donut.
Yeah, 9/11. Oh no, that's when they were established. It's Beacon Scroff. Is that Scroff?
Oh, Beacon Skiff.
Beacon Skiff.
Beacon Skiff Apple Orchards. It says 9/11 cider donut. Hard cider is blended with brown sugar and spices to create the warm, toasty, perfectly fall flavor of this favorite sweet treat. So it is definitely, and it is a 5 on the sweetness scale out of 6. So very much so. But yeah, good stuff. Really good shit. That's about it for me on that.
Yeah, this is 5.6%. I had to look it up to see what the percentage was. So.
Alrighty.
But in other news, there was another a celebrity death that I think we need to mention.
Who is that?
And CD brought this up in our Discord channel. But Fred Ward passed away.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's pretty wild, huh?
Yeah, Remo Williams.
It's a shame, but he was getting up there. This isn't shocking.
70 something, I think 77, 79, something like that. But yeah, so he was getting up there, but it is still a shame. It doesn't matter. Of course. Dude, we were still sad when we still talked about it when Renee says he was 80. When we talked about Betty White, she was 98. Or 99. She was almost 100.
Right.
So it's still, Remo Williams and all those 80s, 90s movies he was in. Tremors.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He was in a ton of stuff, man. If you look at his IMDb page,
yeah,
the guy was prolific as hell.
And he wasn't choosy.
No.
Some actors just like to work.
For sure. Absolutely. Let me see here. Let's just look him up real quick. He was in Joe Dirt.
I see. I've never seen Joe Dirt, actually.
Oh man, that's a classic. Honestly, there's some funny shit in that movie. But yeah, he was played his long lost father. Looks like the last thing he was in, a TV movie for Tremors that was supposed to come out. That came out in 2018. That's the last credit he had. A television reboot of the film Tremors, in which a small town is gripped with fear over giant underground worms living beneath them. So before that, True Detective. He was a couple episodes of True Detective, Two Guns, Leverage, an episode of Leverage, something called 30 Minutes or Less back in 11, United States of Tara, back in 09 or 10. So in the last few years, he hasn't done a lot. And I think that's probably just he was getting older and he was slowing down.
Yeah.
That happens. So, but, we'll miss him.
I'll raise a glass to him because I honestly, I loved Remo Williams. I thought that was just a hilarious movie.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a movie, interestingly. Here, well, let's have that drink. Interestingly, in that movie, in Remo Williams, let me see, Joel Grey was in that movie. And
yeah, he was the martial arts expert guy.
Oh, he was in Fred Ward was in an episode of The Incredible Hulk. He was Marvin, or Lynch's henchman. 2 episodes. Let me see.
Yeah, the secret is run real fast.
Yeah, Remo Williams, The Adventure Begins. So, the actor Joel Grey played the Chin, the Korean martial arts master that trained him. Joel Grey was the furthest thing from Asian. He was not even closely Asian. He was wearing a lot of makeup in that movie and in that role. And at the time, people lauded him as being wow, this is such an amazing makeup job and such an amazing transformation and everything. And the guy, Joel Grey, was very good at transforming himself for a role. But they late in current years, that would be considered yellow face, and he would be probably torn to pieces for doing a role like that.
That was actually the first place I think I ever saw Kate Mulgrew too.
Yeah, she was in that too. I forgot.
Yep.
But Joel Grey basically playing a white guy playing an Asian character, and he is actually, I believe, his daughter is Jennifer Grey, the actress who was in Dirty Dancing, famous for being in Dirty Dancing,
and was just in Dollhouse.
Oh, was
or
she?
Dollface? I mean,
Dollface.
Yeah, with Kat Denning. I have to think where I saw her before because she plays her mom. And
oh, really?
Yeah, and I'm like, I know her. Why do I know her? And I had to look it up, and I'm like, holy shit.
That's wild. I've been meaning to watch Dollface. I heard it's really good.
Actually, really good. It takes a little bit to get going, but once you get through the first couple episodes, it gets really, really good. We have 1 episode left, and then next week 10 days. 10 days. Shoresy starts.
Oh yeah, does it really?
Yeah,
I forgot
the 27th.
That's awesome.
Which is the same day that Obi-Wan starts.
Oh, too many things. All the things.
Yeah.
All the things.
Well, that's the thing. So Obi-Wan starts, and then 2 weeks later, Ms. Marvel starts.
Yeah, and I mentioned it earlier when I was just talking to you. She-Hulk, Attorney at Law, just got their first trailer. It reveals an August 17th release date for the Disney Plus series.
Oh, that's earlier than I thought.
Yeah, and I had thought that this show was going to be on Hulu, but apparently not. It is going to go to
Disney Plus.
Disney Plus. Now, I haven't watched the trailer yet, but
I have a feeling that things are going to Disney Plus now, because now that they have the Netflix shows on there, they've got that new thing where you have to agree to see mature content if you
right.
So
it's probably
Disney Plus, not just for kids anymore.
Might be a good idea just to keep it all in one place,
Yeah.
That's the other thing. Keep all the Disney stuff in one place. I did see that the Marvel show, MODOK, the MODOK show, I believe it got canceled. They're not renewing it. It's
no, go ahead.
It's I watched it. It was okay. But
I didn't even get through the whole season.
I was like, it really, it was just kind of cringy to me. I wasn't a big fan.
Yeah. I got to get back to Hit Monkey, because I actually was enjoying I only watched the first 2 episodes, and I'm like, I'm kind of enjoying this show.
hit Monkey Eye Duck. That was some funny shit. It was funny. It was it was brutal. I mean, this is definitely not a cartoon for kids at all, not even a little bit. So I am, you know what, I'm glad, and I'm glad that I watched it all the way to the end because it was pretty funny. I just kind of had the She-Hulk trailer going while I was just silently while I was talking to you. You got to check it out. It looks fucking great. Yeah, I mean, Bruce Banner is in it. The Hulk is in it. So we will see you know, the Hulk at least starting off the show.
Yeah. I've heard Murdoch's possibly in it too.
Why wouldn't he be? I think that would be really great to see him cross over into the show too, considering that in the comic books, when a superhero needs legal help, they go to two places. They go to She-Hulk or they go to Matt Murdock. One of the two, those two right there. See, those two. And I mean, and often, you know, that's the thing too. The Matt Murdock, you know, sometimes he's in kind of trouble with, you know, his identity and dealing with the Kingpin or whatever else. So She-Hulk tends to be the one that's a little more like reliable, but it does seem like there's a lot of her in, like, you know, the She-Hulk form in green screen, or not green screen, but you know, like they do with Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk. So it should be pretty fucking cool. We'll see. I'm gonna watch it later with the audio.
Yeah,
you know.
I will definitely check that out later. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't think that was coming out till like October.
Yeah, I thought it was a little later too, but hey, I'm in for it, man. I have always loved She-Hulk.
That means that should be short, only a few weeks after Ms. Marvel is done.
Yes,
maybe a month.
Yeah, about a month or so, give or take. Because if it's
Ms. Marvel starts June 9th, which should June go 9th. Till like mid-July.
It's going to be at least 6 episodes.
Yeah.
Because most of these have been between 6 and 8, right?
Yeah, I don't know if Ms. Marvel an hour show or is it a half-hour show? Because if it's a half-hour show, then it's 10 weeks.
My guessing is that it'll be, you know, an hour-long show like the rest of them. You know. But I don't know for certain. It is definitely something to look up. So what the hell else were we going to talk about?
I got a few things. I was just looking to see if yeah, so it is 6 episodes. Ms. Marvel is 6 episodes. The last episode is July 13th.
And it sounds like She-Hulk is also going to be 6 episodes.
Oh, originally I thought it was going to be like a half an hour, like legal comedy type thing.
I'll look it up. She-Hulk. Episodes. 10-episode show, which is now officially titled She-Hulk Attorney at Law, will bow on the streamer on the 17th.
So it's probably only a half-hour show.
They're probably only half-hour shows, yeah. Which I think, I don't like that. I want it to be an hour.
Well, in other news outside the MCU and Star Wars, actually, and I know you're not the biggest Whovian, you like Doctor Who, but next year is a huge celebration for Doctor Who. All year long, they're going to be celebrating the 60th anniversary of Doctor Who.
Okay.
Because it'll be 60 years. Show started in 1963. And for that, and they haven't really said how this is going to happen yet, whether it's going to be a special episode, whether it's just going to be in an episode, if it's going to be a web series or what. But David Tennant and Catherine Tate are returning.
I heard about this, yeah.
And I'm ecstatic. I wasn't the biggest fan of Donna, but as I liked all of those. I liked every episode that Tennant was in. I just loved him as the Doctor. Yeah, I'm with you, CD. I didn't really care for Tate. I love Tennant. A lot of people love Catherine Tate because she was the English everywoman. And a lot of people say what they really love about her is that she was as they put it, the only companion that wasn't in love with the Doctor. The only female companion that wasn't in love with the Doctor.
I also heard, I've also seen her on things, and she's also quite funny.
I've never seen her actual like stand up or anything.
Well, she had a sketch comedy show on HBO not on HBO, just on the BBC years ago, and she did some really, really funny stuff. Actually, I remember seeing a skit where David Tennant was on it, and she's like playing a teenage girl, and he is a substitute teacher.
Oh, I remember I did see that.
Yeah. And it's she's like, aren't you the doctor? Are you the doctor? Are you that? And he's like, no, I'm not, and the whole thing, they're trying to do a lesson on Shakespeare, and he's like, he calls her out for not knowing it, and then she reveals that she knows a lot about Shakespeare, like she just like recites this long thing, and he goes, right, and he pulls out a sonic screwdriver and just so it was pretty cool.
But yes, I will be looking forward to that because yes, Tennant is my favorite Doctor of all of them. He's even passed his father-in-law as my favorite Doctor.
All right.
So I definitely look forward to that. I don't know when it is or when it'll be. I don't even know when the whole transformation is going to happen, and like when Jodie Whittaker's last episode is. A lot of times they do that at like a Christmas episode.
Mm-hmm. Well, speaking of Doctor Who, over the weekend, I did forget to mention that on Saturday I went to the Motor City Comic Book Convention.
Yes.
And I had a great time. I did. Stella was not able to go. She had to do a lot of work on her end of her master's study and whatnot. She's still got quite a bit to work on for that for the next couple of weeks. So she's like, I just can't like do that. And I was like, I get it, and one of the first of the new Doctor Who's was there, and that was not David Tennant, but
Christopher
Eccleston. And he had a pretty serious line most of the time I was there. Like, I walked around quite a bit. I made several circuits of the convention, and it's a massive, for those of you guys who have been at Motor City Comic Con, it is a massive convention. It's at the show place in Novi. It's just an immense con, and it's a great time. I mean, really, they had some really great guests this year. I think we went through the guests. Bill Shatner was there this time.
Yeah, CD, he was only one season. He was the angry Doctor.
He was the angry Doctor, yes. But he was the first of the new Doctors.
Yes.
I mean,
they hadn't
had a new Doctor Who in a long time, and he was part of the Doctor Who revival from about 12 years ago now.
Yeah, he actually left Doctor Who and wound up on Heroes.
He did. So it was the con was great. There was it was cool because there was a lot of people there, but it wasn't like constant like walking around like this. There was still room to breathe and room to move, and I think part of the reason why is there were so many people waiting in lines to meet the celebrities. Matthew Lillard was there. Actually, Matthew Lillard, Jamie Kennedy, and Skeet Ulrich, all three actors from the original Scream movie, were there, and they were great. I mean, Skeet Ulrich and Jamie Kennedy, or Skeet Ulrich and Matthew Lillard both had long lines the entire fucking time. In fact, Matt Lillard paid the security extra out of his pocket. Paid money out of his pocket to make sure that there were security there to help work the lines for the end of the day on Saturday, so that people were the last like 400 people or so could still meet Matt and get his picture and get the autograph shots or whatever. So that was pretty cool. Like a couple of my friends were his handlers at the con, and I got to talk to them a little bit, and it was pretty cool. So
everything I've ever heard between you and even other stories is that just what a great guy he is. Just
he really is. He's a really, really cool dude. Yeah, like so there was that. There was what else? I mean, Danny Trejo was there, and he was really, really cool. Everybody talked about how cool he was. He's really short, honestly. Like he's filmed to look taller most of the time, or look like he's a bigger guy.
But
he's actually a pretty short dude.
Well, yeah, I figured he was.
Yeah. What else? It was cool. I tell you one thing though too. Sometimes seeing some of these celebrities in person without like their movie makeup on or their TV makeup on and stuff.
Yeah, he's 5'6".
He's 5'6". That's fairly short for a guy. Seeing them in person can quite often be very much an eye opener, because it's like it's just some of them look a little rough.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them look a little rough, and it's like you're like, holy shit. Like Jamie Kennedy looked like garbage. He looked rough, man. His scraggly beard, it just looked tired, and yeah, it was rough. What else? I'm trying to think. There wasn't a ton of comic book people in this one. There was a lot of the celebrities were really more so the various media guests were the bigger deal, were the bigger ones in this one. There were Amanda Connor and Jimmy Palmiotti were there. Amanda Connor was like one of the artists that has really made Harley Quinn a big deal. She was there, and and I saw her. I don't know. I wandered around a lot and saw friends, but I didn't interact a whole lot with the kind of bigger names. But I still had a great time. So guys, if you get the chance, if you get the opportunity, then I highly recommend getting to the Motor City Comic Con at some point.
Get some light on one.
Yeah, it's definitely something I want to do. I've actually never gone.
I'm surprised, honestly, that you have never been to the Motor City Comic Con all these years.
Part of it is that I'm not huge on giant crowds or standing in line. I'm not a line guy.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly hate lines.
And that was the thing. There were just, the lines were insanity, man. I was like, oh my God. I was just like, I'm not going to wait in these lines. I'm not going to wait in a 3-hour line to like possibly, to possibly meet this celebrity. And it depends. Robbie Damon was there from Critical Role.
Mm-hmm.
And he was probably the only one that I would, and his line was long, but it wasn't ridiculous. It wasn't like, I'm going to be in this line for 3 hours. It was more like, it might be an hour-long wait, maybe, depending on how much time he spends with each person. So there was that. But a lot of them were just like, I'm not interested enough. I'm not going to do that. But that one actually kind of bugged me a little bit. I would have really liked to have met Robbie Damon. And but I mean, like, if anybody else from Critical Role, any of the original guys, particularly like Matt or Laura or Travis, any of them really, I would have definitely waited in line.
Maybe not Sam.
Nah, Sam too.
I wouldn't wait for Sam. I wouldn't wait for Sam. The others I probably would. Sam, no.
I definitely would have.
Unless I get to smack him, no.
Yeah. Oh, come on now. He's still one of the original guys,
Don't care. He could disappear off that show and I'd be perfectly happy.
Oh man, that is some harsh shit, man.
I'm not a
Harsh.
fan.
I think
He tries to be over the top too much. And
yeah. Well, I mean, I certainly understand.
yes, CD, in the Mighty Nine, I didn't hate his character as much. Actually, I liked Not better than Veth though.
You're like not better than Veth?
Yes.
I did like his characters. I mean, so that's the thing. I haven't hated his characters.
I can't stand Scanlan. I hate FCG.
I see. I like FCG. FCG isn't near.
FCG was created so he could do one fucking joke.
Well, that's then why he made the name. But the character itself has been interesting because I've never seen somebody play a cleric that's essentially a therapist. Because that's what FCG is. FCG is essentially a therapist.
Well, it's supposed to be all practical stuff. It's not actually any magic, technically.
Right.
But he's playing a version of a Warforged. Is really all it is. It's just
yeah. He's playing a Warforged, essentially. And I don't know. I'll admit he's not my favorite of the group, and because a lot of the times I feel like he doesn't ever treat it seriously.
Never.
But then there comes times like he shines by treating it seriously, and it's incredible. He has some, particularly in campaign 1, but it happened a number of times in campaign 2 as well, where fucking Sam Riegel pulls it out in the end with a massive, with a holy shit kind of moment. And you still haven't seen the very end of campaign 1, right?
Nope.
Yeah, you're still in the Chroma Conclave situation.
Yeah,
is that what it is? So yeah, there's definitely times, there's definitely times at the end where it's just like, it's incredible some of the shit that he pulls. That's like, holy smokes. Because that's the other thing too. Scanlan becomes their arcane magic user, and he becomes pretty goddamn important. And there were times when the relationship, you saw the relationship between Not and Caleb, and it's just like, holy smokes, just some of the stuff that they pulled. So I don't know. So definitely, like I said, not my favorite of the group, but I also didn't hate him either. So we should move on.
Yeah, so we were talking about Comic-Con.
We were talking about Comic-Con. So I would definitely, if any of those guys showed up, I would definitely wait in that line. But it's just, like I said, I'm not a big autograph hound, and I'm just not willing to stand in line for 2.5 to 3 hours and honestly, the cost involved too. Like, I mean, it's 60, 70, 80 bucks to get a signed photograph or get a photograph with these people. And I don't care enough, I think. It really has to be somebody I really, really, look up to or really admire. Freddie Stromo was there. He was from most recently he played the vigilante in Peacemaker.
Mm-hmm.
And he was there. He was the only one that he was sitting at the table behind a plastic screen. He was the only celebrity that was like a plastic screen up. So as far as I could tell, Carrie Elwes, famous from The Princess Bride. He, among other things, but probably he's most.
Oh, was he in that?
Princess Bride. He had originally was going to be there, and then he canceled, and then but then he showed up. He uncanceled because apparently what had happened is he had gotten bitten by a rattlesnake on a hike in California.
Huh.
And I think it happened like a week ago, so he wasn't sure if he was going to be okay to go. And then I guess he got the green light, and so he went. I was like,
That's cool.
Well, that's wild. Yeah.
He's one I might look to meet.
Yeah. I think that would be fucking cool. I did. You know what? I did. I met him years ago. I went to the con with my girlfriend Rachel at the time, and we met him. He was super cool. He was a really nice guy.
So one of the other things I was going to talk about. So I actually found there's some cool science stuff that's been going on.
Yeah.
Did you see the stuff that the Event Horizon found?
No. What was it?
We got our first picture of the black hole at the center of the Milky Way. It is now proven that that's what's there. Up until now, it was just a theory that that's the most likely explanation. But they actually got a picture of it.
Wow, that's wild. How I mean, they're nowhere near. I don't know, just that's wild to me.
Well, what it is, so do you know what Event Horizon is?
Yeah.
It's a group of, for those that don't know, it's a group of telescopes around the world that are all linked together that basically make one giant telescope that's the size of the Earth on one side. So it can look out and capture that much of the sky. And it took them a long time to do this because it took them, they had to do the math, and then they said the math was the easy part. Getting the actual picture was the tough part. But it's called Sagittarius A, I believe, or SGRA, Sagittarius A. And it's really kind of cool. It looks like just a blurry picture of, like, it almost looks like an eclipse. It's just a ring of light and darkness in the middle, and it's not perfectly round, and it's kind of blurry, but it's really cool. It's not the first black hole they've actually taken a picture of. The first black hole they got a picture of was one that is like at the center of some other galaxy. But yeah, so they've now actually, they said that everything that they've gotten, I think there's been 3 black holes that they've actually been able to photograph now, and what they extrapolated a picture. But they said that from everything that they're seeing and that they're able to study, they do behave exactly as Einstein theorized.
The black holes do.
Yes. But yes, you're right, wow. CD. The one at the middle of our galaxy is tiny compared to others. It's like the first one that they got a picture of is like 1,500 times the size of the one at the center of our galaxy.
It's amazing. I mean, when you really, really think about that, that's some wild shit, man.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's that was some big news, though, that we're swirling around a black hole,
slowly descending into
it. But yeah, they're hoping that they can actually do studies of it now that they know it's there. That they can do even more studies. I mean, there's no way to actually send anything there yet, but
well, yeah, of course not.
Yep.
There's no way in hell. I mean, if they tried to send something there, I mean, it would be, everybody on the planet would be long dead. There might not even be a planet by the time it got there. So
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's funny because if you watch like a video that they put out for it, the group that actually is doing this, they actually have like a picture of the Milky Way swirling around, and they show like this is where the black hole is, and they do a "you are here" thing on the.
Of course they do. Why wouldn't they? Of course. That's funny. Wow, that's
But
pretty
yeah.
wild, man.
Yeah.
Damn.
If you look on the Nerdist, you can find you see the pictures. That's where I saw it. But one of the other things I found on the Nerdist is that we're constantly looking for new energy sources, right?
Correct.
And trying to find ways to do things. Scientists powered a Raspberry Pi computer, so just a little computer,
Okay.
for over a year with algae.
Oh yeah, I heard something about this. They use algae to power Raspberry Pi computer, like a little teeny computer.
Yep. And I guess they're saying that I didn't realize this, but there's a whole thing about algae being used as a biofuel as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wouldn't be able to completely replace fossil fuels, but from what I was reading, but it is a viable replacement for certain other things. So
Well, they're saying that most of our the one thing that they can do is they think that this could be used with our current engines. Right.
No, okay. See, I read something like it could be good for powering like almost like essentially creating batteries, but I could be mistaken.
Algae is already used as a biofuel. The video below from the U.S. Department of Energy shows off its potential to run the same gas and diesel engines we already have.
Wow, it's amazing. So basically, we'd be growing huge algae farms to create fuel.
Well, they say actually in this that some algae farms are right next to power plants and oil refineries where the carbon dioxide fumes of those factories feed the algae.
Right.
There's also a brewery that uses algae to absorb carbon dioxide made in the brewing process.
All right. Let's do it then. Come on. We need more resources. We need other ways to power this massive engine that is humanity.
This also mentions that because it says current battery materials are hazardous and unsustainable. They also lose their charge over time. More research into environmentally friendly options like human sweat and algae is needed to find sustainable options. Like, human sweat is an energy source?
Guess it depends on what you eat. Fucking weird, man. Oh, the world is a weird place. Brother.
But still, I think that's cool as hell that they basically created a battery out of algae. It needs to be in the sun for photosynthesis to actually create the energy, but they are creating energy using a biofuel. A living fuel.
Honestly, yeah. I mean, that's fantastic if they can get it to work. If it's sustainable, if it will actually work, yeah, fucking great.
Yeah, Renee said it's because the ions that come through the skin. Okay. You say so.
Let's consult our scientific consultant.
Our bio nerd.
Bio nerd in the basement there.
Yep.
So yeah, well, that's fucking wild, man. Bring it on. I mean, they've sci-fi authors and whatnot have theorized for years about biofuels, but I think I've heard of algae being used as a biofuel in the past. So that's great. I don't know why the dogs are not barking, but if that is something that is viable, that would work, man, that's awesome. But yeah, that's not a uncommon idea. So it's interesting. It's an example of how science fiction can often and has often fed
technology,
the ideas of technology.
Look at flip phones.
Absolutely. Star Trek is one of the biggest influencers of technology.
Yep.
So
but yeah. So cool. Some science shit.
We dropped some science knowledge on you guys.
Yeah.
That's really good.
But yeah, we don't do that often.
No, not real science anyway.
Which we should do more.
It's science of bullshit is what
yes.
we're dropping on you guys. So something else, something I started the other day. I started a newer video game. It's called Solasta, Crown of the Magister. It's a game on Steam, and it is an RPG, fantasy RPG, and it is essentially D&D 5.0. It's a turn-based combat, kind of game. It's top-down isometric and similar to like Baldur's Gate and whatnot. But it is and from what I understand, the combat is very well. From what I've played, it's very similar to Divinity, Original Sin 2, which is the same company that made Divinity is making the new Baldur's Gate 3, or has made it, is working on it. So the combat is turn-based, but it's fucking D&D. It's 5th edition D&D. The spells are the same, the races are the same. It's just it's like, taking the 5th edition rules and putting it in their own homebrew world.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty great. And you have to have a team of 4 characters, and you can either use the pre-generated ones or you can generate your own, which I did. I made a fighter, a wizard, a rogue, and a cleric, just kind of all the 4 base ones. And at 3rd level, you were able to create specialties and pick your paths or whatever. There's a lot of the character classes are available. The cool thing is, most of the time when you make characters or make a character like this, your character is the PC, and all of the NPCs talk to you and whatnot. In this game, all 4 of your characters are put into the cutscenes and are animated and speak. And so your characters that you have created through the character creation engine are then part of the game. And that's the first time I've seen that. Most of the time, like I said, in these settings, in these games, your character you're seeing it, out of the character's eyes or whatnot, but the character doesn't speak. You make dialogue choices for them, but the character itself usually doesn't speak, and isn't as animated in the cutscenes. So this was pretty cool. I recommend it. It's pretty cool so far. My characters I think I just hit 5th level, and it's easy to get those first few levels out of the way. Like you hit 2nd level after the tutorial, and then I hit 3rd and 4th, and then just barely hit 5th level before I went to bed last night. So I've only played maybe 14 hours total, I think. So and it does have some DLC, so you guys might want to check it out. Solasta, Crown of the Magister. It's on Steam. I think it was $30, something like that, but it comes highly rated and pretty fucking cool. So
cool.
Yeah, something to keep you busy. For those of you guys who are waiting for them to fully release Baldur's Gate 3, this would be something to keep you busy. So.
Yeah, I'm still playing Forbidden West and still loving it. I am actually halfway to the level cap, and I'm 22% of the way through the game, it says.
Wow. Okay. So you're not even a quarter of the game through, and you're already halfway
to level cap.
To level cap.
Which they said once you hit level cap, that doesn't really fully cap you. You still get skill points and things like that you can skill up and all that. I mean, you can get enough skill points to max out every one of the skill trees from what I've read.
So you're still able to further develop
the
character, even though. So then what's the point of a cap then?
I think it's just your power level maxes out there.
I see.
The other thing, though, is there's a new game out that I saw someone on Twitch playing it earlier, and I'm like, that actually looks kind of cool. I was already looking at it. It's Evil Dead, the game.
Oh, yeah. I'm actually pretty excited about that game. I'm planning on
just came out
PS5.
Friday.
Yeah, it's still like pretty new. I don't know what the have you heard any of the initial reviews?
No, but I'm looking on Google right now, and it's got a 4 out of 5, and 94% like the video game. Doesn't say how
That's
many.
pretty awesome. It's got a 69% Metacritic, 4 out of 5 on VG247.
Yeah, VG247 is what I'm seeing.
Yeah, 8 out of 10 on the loadout. Survival horror video game based on the Evil Dead series franchise. To Evil VG247, a groovy gore fest, but something is missing. The game shines where other Digital Trend says the game shines where other 4v1 games fail. Evil Dead, the game review. So looking like it's getting okay reviews. Looks like it's not knocking people out of the, knocking it out of the park. Here's a rating that says 3 out of 5. Here's one that says 6 out of 10. If you can accept its unvarnished edges, Evil Dead, the game is a fiendishly addictive asymmetric multiplayer game crafted with a clear love of the genre. So, I mean, I love Evil Dead and I love Bruce Campbell, so I will most probably look into getting this game for my PlayStation.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know if I want it for the PlayStation or if I want it for my computer.
Well, my computer, which I just noticed, is actually, I thought it was only 4 years old. It's actually 5 years old, a little over 5 years old. I think I'm probably going to try and lean into buying some of these more graphically intense games for my computer. I mean, for my PlayStation instead of my computer. I mean, I still have a pretty solid system and a pretty solid video card, but something that's more graphically intense. I'm gonna.
For me, it's more of a, if I want to stream it, then I want it on my PC.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense too.
Because it's easier.
Sure. I mean, I have considered maybe looking into a new computer too at some point. Probably maybe in the next year or two. But it just depends on the pricing, and it depends on how available things are. I mean, I spent $1,000 on this tower 5 years ago, and it was a pretty solid buy at the time.
Yeah, I don't know that I would build my own. I built this one myself. I don't know if I would do that again. I got a buddy that owns a computer store now.
Oh,
and he can build stuff for basically the same price that I could.
Uh-huh.
And he gives me a bit of a discount and stuff. So I think I'll just be going through him. That's where we got Renee's computer, and it works great. So
right on. Yeah, I have the NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1070 is my video card.
Mm-hmm.
And
Alienware is now Dell, CD.
Yeah, Dell bought Alienware quite a while ago.
Yeah, my the laptop I use for our game is actually an Alienware. Technically, it's a Dell, what used to be Alienware.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and a lot of people feel like that really dropped the quality of Alienware, quite a while ago. So I don't know if that's the case, but I mean, I do remember that when that happened, it was pretty. I mean, there was a lot of people that were pissed off.
Mm-hmm. Selling out to the man.
Yeah, no kidding. But that's the thing, that with the chip shortage and the scarcity, I mean, from what I understand, it is a lot better than it used to be. But it's still like the chip shortage and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
There's still, like, I remember people saying that it is it's still hard to get stuff, man. Let's see here. Like my video card right now, if I were to buy it today on Amazon, it would still $580 for a video card that is over 5 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So holy smokes.
Yep.
Yeah, it looks like for specifically the one that I have. That's wild to me. That's wild. I can only imagine what one that a brand new one would cost. Jeez.
Well, yeah, most of those are well over $1,000 right now, because they are hard to get. And like the PS5, that guy that I followed on Twitter, that actually he honestly did help me get my PS5 by announcing when drops were happening and things like that. He also does the latest video card drops because they're so rare for people that want those. I know mine is fine for right now, and I'm okay with that. I usually do tend to buy graphics cards that are a year or two old. I'm not normally buying the latest and greatest because I don't want to spend $1,000.
Right. Yeah. Like I just looked it up here. I put in Amazon newest. It says newest NVIDIA graphics card brand, the newest one. The GeForce RTX 3090 Founders Edition's graphic card. Guess how much?
$1,500.
Higher.
The $3,000.
Lower.
Oh, okay, that's enough. I'm done.
About $2,400. Unbelievable. Yet so the 3090 is about $2,400. The 3070, $679 on Amazon. The 3060 Ti Founders Edition, 8GB, $650. So I mean, that's how much the jump is, man, from like 3 ones down. That's crazy, man. So then why would my T7, my, whatever it is, 1070, why would that still be going for $650 or whatever it was? That's crazy to me, man. Well, this is probably not the most exciting shit. So yeah, it says $480 for if I were to buy it new. So a couple of weeks ago we talked about I found this list on Games Radar, the 100 best TV shows of all time. And I thought we could kind of roll through these real quick and see, maybe not the whole thing.
I'll say, as long as you don't read the description of every single show.
No, I'm not. Of course not. But it's interesting to see where some of these shows were placed, and some of them are, and some shows that got left off completely, like I did scroll through these and I did see where Star Trek: The Next Generation was, and I was like, okay, I get it, but they didn't put any of the other next generation Star Trek shows on. Now, granted, Next Gen and DS9 Voyager are all within the same kind of category, kind of subcategory within 15 years or so of Star Trek. But Enterprise isn't in there, and any of the new
Enterprise, I don't think Enterprise should be. Enterprise only made it 4 seasons. It didn't go 7 like the others. It got canceled early.
Yeah, but anyway,
it was actually considered a flop.
It was considered, yes, but the funny thing is if you watch it later.
Oh, I don't think it was a bad show. I'm just saying that it was considered a disappointment.
It was considered a disappointment at the time, but a lot of reviewers and a lot of people were finding it, watching it in streaming, it's getting much better kind of later reviews. Like people are reanalyzing it, going, "Oh, this."
Gee, I don't know any shows like that, Firefly.
Yeah, I'm kidding. All right, so number 100 is Freaks and Geeks.
Never watched it.
Oh, good show, man. 99 to 2000. Only got 1 season, but it was actually a really solid show that started off a bunch of actors' careers. Linda Cardellini, James Franco, Seth Rogen, Jason Segel. A lot of really cool actors at the time. So number 99, Watchmen. Number 98, The Good Place.
Never watched that one either.
I've heard so many wonderful things about The Good Place, and I did watch like the first half of the first season going, I got to come back to this. So I am going to come back to it. 97, Chernobyl.
I've heard really good things about that, and
I've also heard that it is a sad show.
Yeah, Renee and I have not watched it because she's like, I gotta gear up for that one. That's
one of those ones that you kind of you got to get ready for it. So number 96 is Sherlock with Benedict Cumberbatch.
Heard good things about that too. It's on my list.
It was really good. I did watch it. Really good. 95 Moonlighting. From kind of a blast from our past. 85 to 89, the show that kind of kicked off Bruce Willis's career with Sybil Shepherd.
Sybil Shepherd was pretty big before that, but
she had a career before this, but it was a great show. Honestly.
I really enjoyed that show. Booger was on it too.
Yes. Armstrong.
Yes.
So 94, Alfred Hitchcock Presents, 55 to 65. 93, Northern Exposure, which I do remember watching and enjoying that show.
Yep.
90 to 95. 92, Key and Peele from 12 to 15. Honestly, one of the best sketch comedy shows I've seen in a long time.
Never watched it.
Fantastic show. You've never watched Key and Peele?
Nope.
Oh, dude, really?
I mean, I've seen little snippets online, but
really some fantastic comedy.
That's where the AA Ron thing comes from, isn't it?
Yeah, correct. It's just some really great stuff. I highly recommend it if you get the opportunity. I think it's now it's on either the Peacock or Paramount. One of the two.
So a shitty service.
91 is Dawson's Creek from 98 to 03. I don't think I've ever watched a single episode of Dawson's Creek. I never cared. Never gave.
You're the Dawson.
I didn't give two shits, man. It was terrible.
You're the Dawson. From Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
Oh, right. Number 90, Babylon 5. How do you feel about Babylon 5?
Babylon 5. So I liked Babylon 5. The first season's really rough. The second season gets better. The third season's fantastic. The fourth season starts going downhill, and the fifth season I haven't gotten through because I hate the new captain.
It was, I think, one of the big things that failed that show, why that show never quite had the same resonance as some of the other ones, is that at the time it was a syndicated show.
Yep.
So it was all over the place. You never knew when you could find it.
Exactly. And then the last two seasons, actually, TNT took it over because it got canceled.
Right.
And then it had its own time slot and everything, but it was only one season, and then they said, okay, well, we'll let you finish it out with one more season.
Right.
Because it was originally planned to be a 5-season show.
Right. Yeah, it was written that way. Like he honestly J. Michael Straczynski, the writer, he had a 5-year Bible for it. And so he had a plan. I liked it. I thought it was it had groundbreaking special effects because it was all digital.
It was the first show that was all digital.
It was the first one that was all the special effects were all digital. And of course, the makeup was really fantastic. Some really cool concepts. And but then, like I said, it was hard to find.
Was a lot of politics.
And it was a lot of, it was based largely, there was a lot of politics between the different, races and stuff. So, but I still feel like it was one of those ones that's worth another watch. So, 89 is The Avengers, the original show from 61 to 69. 88 is a newer show, Catastrophe, from 15 to 19.
Don't know that one.
Carrie Fisher was on the show. It's Sharon Horgan and Rob Delaney's sitcom follows two strangers named Sharon and Rob who have a one-night stand that results in an unexpected pregnancy. The duo manage to capture the minutiae of everyday life while providing escapism in the purest form. Their chemistry shining through in this often hilarious series that's unafraid to deal with the tough aspects of life, alcoholism, infidelity, death in a lighthearted manner. The supporting characters, including Rob's eccentric mother, Carrie Fisher, and Sharon's mischievous brother, Jonathan Forbes, are delighted. So, 87 is Dexter from 06 to 13.
That's a good show. I haven't finished the series. I haven't finished the series yet. But
it was a great show with a disappointing ending.
That's what I heard.
Yeah.
And I've heard that the new series is hopefully fixing that.
From what I understand, it has. The new season was apparently a lot better. So Futurama is number 86. Now, personally, I feel that I've never watched Futurama regularly or like all the time, but every time I've watched it, I've enjoyed it.
Dude, it had me the first episode, and I think I've talked about this before. The first episode of that show had me hooked, and it was one of those that I never watched it regularly, but in that first episode where I don't even remember exactly what happens, but Bender is like scared and you see a brick drop out from behind him.
Yeah, right.
He fucking shit a brick.
He shit a brick, yeah.
And I'm like, I saw that and I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to love this show.
Yeah, and it's fantastic. Now it's coming back. They were able to get the entire cast apparently to return. I guess the actor who plays Bender was holding out because I think he either wanted more money or felt that he deserved more money or that everybody did, and he held out. He wasn't going to come back, but apparently they were able to negotiate it with him.
And that's the thing. This is a show that's been canceled multiple times.
Yeah. It's been canceled
and been off for years and then come back.
Right. It's wild. That's why it lasted from, that's why it says 99 to 13, because it hasn't had that many seasons. It's just, there were big breaks in between the seasons. So 85, we have something called Line of Duty. It's from 12 to present. It's a BBC show. So I'm not particularly, it's a cop show, it looks like. But 84 is the classic show from 72 to 83, MASH.
Wow, I'm surprised MASH is that far down.
Well, there's a lot of shows here.
There are, but I'm still surprised with all the critical acclaim that MASH got.
Oh yeah.
I'm surprised that it's in the 80s.
I was a little surprised myself because it is one of my all-time favorite shows, and it was an amazing show. I remember, I mean, it started before I was even born, and I remember watching it. I would watch it on rerun as a kid, and then I even remember watching it a bit in prime time at the end. I mean, it says the final episode attracted 121 million viewers. Yeah,
it was the highest rated most watched TV show of all time at the time.
At the time, and it took years before even anybody came close to it.
Yeah, Renee said Korean War lasted 4 years. MASH lasted 11.
Yeah. So, but a great show. Number 83, we have True Blood from HBO, the show based on the Sookie Stackhouse books. Yep. It was a good show, but it depended on
vampire porn.
It really depended on the season because some seasons were better than others. But it was a solid show. It also pushed the boundaries on what people were expecting and what you could see on television for sure. But it was also HBO, so it's definitely, you can watch the whole thing on HBO Max, and it's worth a watch, definitely. 82, we have Blackadder, which is a Rowan Atkinson show.
Yep.
It's kind of difficult to describe it, but it's a comedy. It's featuring characters and the descendants of a particular character, and it is considered, it's no denying that Blackadder is one of the greatest sitcoms of all time and one that only builds as it endures. So there's some pretty crazy stuff.
It's a British comedy show.
It's British comedy.
If you like British comedy, then
yeah. Here's another one called Peep Show, number 81, from 03 to 15. Over the course of 9 series, Peep Show, which follows the dysfunctional friendship of Mark and Jez, quietly revolutionized sitcoms in the noughties, giving comedy fans something they had not seen before. The use of voiceover narration to convey the inner thoughts of its main characters, as well as the point of view camera style, all adds the off-kilter awkwardness that makes Peep Show so quintessentially British. It's another British show. Number 80, we have The Walking Dead.
Okay.
Which I put it up there. I put it up there from 2010 to 22. Because they are saying that this is the last season of The Walking Dead.
Thank God.
Number 79.
I think it went about 7 years too long.
I don't know, man. I stopped watching it at about season 4 or 5.
I stopped at 3 because I was bored.
Well, I've always planned to go back and finish and
I did not.
complete it.
I did not get as far as Negan.
You didn't go all the way to Negan, huh?
Yeah.
Somebody was talking. My friend Marcus was telling me that he doesn't understand people that want to cosplay as some of these horrible villainous characters like Negan. I mean, Negan is a horrible character. I mean, he's not.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah. So, yikes, But I saw, because we saw somebody very, very well cosplaying Negan at the Comic-Con. He was like, I don't get it, man. I go with the same type of people that cosplays the Joker. I mean, people.
I'd do that. I'd do Vader.
Yeah. Well, people love the villains, man. So 79, we have the UK version of The Office, which only ran from 01 to 03.
Which we were just mentioning earlier, that Catherine Tate was on the last couple seasons.
Of the American version.
Oh, was it the American version? I thought it was the British version. I was guessing it was the British version.
No. I never watched the UK version, but I have always heard that Ricky Gervais and Stephen Merchant were really great in it. And I did watch the entire run of the American version of The Office.
I have not watched either. I've watched like half the first season of the American version and just had a really hard time with it. I've watched the first couple episodes of the British version and still had a kind of a tough time with it. So
the American version is funny, but you really got to get used to it. And there's so much cringe humor. If you have a tough time with cringe humor like I do, or cringy kind of shit, then there are definitely times when you're just like, oh God, because the character of Michael Scott is such a cringy character. And there's other ones there too that you're just like, you watch him do shit and you're just like, oh God. And it's so visceral for me. But it is, honest to God's, really very funny. You just kind of got to get over that part of it. So 78, we have Boardwalk Empire, which ran from 10 to 14 on HBO.
Mm-hmm.
We also have Roots for number 77 that played in 1977. So
they're counting miniseries on here too.
They're also counting miniseries too, but there's not that many. I don't know. Number 76 is something called The Singing Detective from 1986.
I remember hearing about that.
Yeah, looks like another British television show with starred Michael Gambon, who, as the psoriasis-afflicted novelist drifting in and out of his imagination while undergoing treatment. It seems like it was very, very surreal. Number 75, we have Brooklyn Nine-Nine, which personally I absolutely adore Brooklyn Nine-Nine. It ran from 13 to 21, and one of the best comedy cop shows they've ever made.
I had trouble getting into that one.
I really loved it. I thought it was great.
I really wanted to like it. I love what's his name? The guy that played the captain. I can't think of the actor's name. He was on Homicide.
Right. Andre Braugher.
Yeah. Andre Braugher. And I loved him on Homicide.
Yeah.
I absolutely loved that show, Homicide. And I thought it was going to be really cool when the characters from that moved over to Law and Order, but it just didn't work out. It
was one of the few times that's ever happened.
Because Belcher's character just wasn't the same. And his character was fantastic on Homicide. Belzer, yeah. And he just wasn't the same character. Even though he was the same character, the character's personality changed when he went to Law and Order.
Well, we've talked about that before, that Richard Belzer, his character of Munch, is one of the few characters that's ever crossed not only TV shows, gone from one TV show to a different TV show, but it crossed networks.
Mm-hmm.
He is one of the most I think he's got the record for having been on the most number of shows of Detective Munch. So moving on, we're going to go a few more.
I'll say, how far are we going?
I'd say let's go to 70. We're at 75, so we'll do 5 more. So we got Downton Abbey at 74, another show that I've never watched and don't really have any plans or interest in.
Yeah.
But I've also heard it's if you like that kind of show, it's wonderful.
Yeah. So just to step back to Munch for a second, I had to look it up. Uh-huh. He has been on a total of 10 series on 5 networks.
Right. It's crazy, and a lot of those series, it was just a one-shot deal. It was just on one episode. It was kind of a silly thing or a funny thing. But then there were, he's been on other, there were other ones that was a longer term. So
yep.
So 70.
He was on X-Files.
Yeah, he was on an episode of X-Files as Munch.
Yep.
I remember that. So number 73, we have The Handmaid's Tale. From 17 to present.
So that's just the news channel?
Yeah, pretty much. It's pretty much the news.
Texas news.
Oh, so fucking horrible. So The Handmaid's Tale is based on the book The Handmaid's Tale. It's about a dystopian future, and a lot of us are seeing.
I'm sorry. That was fiction becoming a reality show.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. It says, often compared to George Orwell's 84, it's not hard to see the similarities. After a civil war in the United States of America, a
totalitarian.
Thank you. A totalitarian dictatorship has taken away all women's rights. What's more, as infertility is rising, fertile women known as handmaids are forced to serve the elite by bearing children for their families. Offred is one of these handmaids, kidnapped after trying to escape the country with her husband and daughter. It's a well-shot, tense, and haunting drama with lots of little details sprinkled around that rewards repeated viewings. Now, I remember watching the original movie years ago and being haunted by it. This show, from what I understand, is another one of those shows similar to like Walking Dead, where you got to watch it in bits and pieces, because trying to binge a show that's this intense it's very tough. But I've once again heard wonderful things, and it is on my Hulu list, and it's a Hulu exclusive. Number 72 is The Americans from 13 to 18.
Okay.
And it's about
never watched that one, but
it says it's skirted close to cancellation a couple of times, but The Americans is one of US TV's best kept secrets, an 80s set espionage tale of KGB spies in the States. It's as exciting as Breaking Bad and almost as complex as The Wire. Elizabeth and Philip, actually Nadeja and Misha, do despicable things, but their FBI counterparts are just as dubious. And caught up in it all is Allison Wright's tragic, heartbreaking Martha, who's apparently their daughter. So they're basically undercover spies in America, based on undercover Russian spies.
Mm-hmm.
So we have number 71. We have The Good Wife, which ran from 09 to 16. It has 5 Emmys and Television Critic Association Awards for outstanding achievement. Juliana Margulies is as stunning as Alicia Florrick, whose husband Peter gets thrown into jail following a sex scandal. So grounded in real world details, A Good Wife enthralls as it shows Alicia gradually becomes the person she detests, her husband, after running for office yet being caught in her own political scandal. So all about political scandal, basically. So the last one we're going to deal with tonight, like I said, number 70 is Black Mirror. It's from 11 to
I watched
present.
The first episode of that.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy shit.
Right. It's considered like kind of the modern Twilight Zone, even though we have had a modern Twilight Zone that is on, I believe, Paramount Plus, that was produced by Jordan Peele.
Yeah.
Key and Peele. I also heard just recently that a new season of Black Mirror will be coming soon, since the fact that they put present. Charlie Brooker's razor-sharp anthology show is The Twilight Zone for the New Millennium, although even The Twilight Zone never featured an episode where a politician has sex with a pig.
Yep, that's the first episode.
Yep. Bleak, blackly comic, and genuinely disturbing, Black Mirror probes at social media and our technological obsessions. The first 2 seasons are explosive and matched by the fantastically anti-festive John Hamm starring Christmas special in 14. The following Netflix-produced seasons do not disappoint either, utilizing a wealth of top-tier acting talent, because it started on something. I don't even know where it started originally, but then Netflix picked it up and continued it. So fantastic show. Really, really fantastic show. And I haven't even watched all of it. I've just seen a few. I've seen some of the episodes, meaning, thinking I have to go back to this. Fantastic. Highly recommend it, guys, if you want to check out some really amazingly well-written science fiction. You want to check out Black Mirror, because it's one of those things where it's very much commentary on our culture and our society. So just there we go. That's a little bit better.
So I've got an article here that's got a listing of all of the Star Wars television projects and movies that we know about.
I heard something about that. Yeah, a new report gives an update on Taika, Patty Jenkins, Rian Johnson, and Kevin Feige projects.
Yeah, this one just says, this just got a list, and the TV projects for Disney Plus are Obi-Wan Kenobi, of course.
Yeah.
Which is going to be 10 years after Revenge of the Sith, it says. Andor, which is going to be Cassian Andor,
okay.
the guy from Rogue One.
Yeah.
Mandalorian Season 3.
Yep.
Ahsoka, which I'm really looking forward to that one.
Me too. Me too.
Because I think Rosario Dawson is actually a great pick for adult Ahsoka.
Dude, she was so good in The Mandalorian. She was so good.
And Mandalorian 2.5, aka the Book of Boba Fett.
The Book of Boba Fett.
The Acolyte, which is set 100 years before Phantom Menace. The Acolyte ventures into newer territory for the Star Wars fans, not entrenched deeply in the franchise's lore. So it's going to go back to the High Republic era.
Okay.
One that's just being called Grammar Rodeo. So it's it doesn't even have a title yet, just a code name. The Simpsons-inspired Grammar Rodeo. However, Lucasfilms has vaguely indicated its premise, and it sounds like a blast. Per Vanity Fair, the company is internally likening it to the coming of age film Steven Spielberg's Amblin Entertainment made in the 80s. Set in the same time as The Mandalorian in the immediate years following the Empire's destruction, a Star Wars project in the vein of the Goonies, that's certainly piqued our interests.
Okay.
So we'll see how that goes. And then there's some other things like what you were just saying, the Taika Waititi directed film, the Patty Jenkins Rogue Squadron, as far as movies coming up.
It's interesting to me that they are looking to give Rian Johnson another some kind of thing, really.
Yeah,
it says, as for Rian Johnson, it says his trilogy, his films seem to have been put to one side for now. Rian has been unbelievably busy with Knives Out and the deal that he made at Netflix for multiple movies, Lucasfilm President Kathleen Kennedy explained. So maybe we won't be seeing anything from Rian Johnson in a while.
Yeah, there's supposedly a Feige thing, but nothing's been official on that either. But I don't want them to give Rian Johnson shit.
No, I know. I know.
I think with what he did with Episode 8, I think that he should be banned from ever doing anything related to Star Wars again.
I'd have to agree with that. I mean,
I don't see the fans coming around on it.
Yeah, I agree.
That's the thing. I don't see that working.
And fans are fickle and they're pissed off and they are outer limits on my covered. Yeah, CD. Watch Black Mirror. You'll really enjoy it. But yeah, I mean, fans are so angry and fickle these days. I mean, like I noticed, like I saw some reports about Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness and about how there's a 65% drop off in ticket sales from week 1 to week 2. And they're saying that although that's not uncommon, it is one of the biggest drop offs for a Marvel movie in quite a while. It's one of the bigger drop offs. And that apparently, the thing is honestly, the majority of people that were really excited to see it saw it on opening weekend.
Yep.
And that's why it made $470 million worldwide, 187 domestically. It made a lot of money. It made good money. It did really well. And it's going to make even more money when it's streaming and Blu-ray sales and whatever else. And it's going to continue to make money. It's going to be a successful film. And it is. It's already a successful film. But people are, because of that, the detractors are all, well, see, it's really not as good as you think it is. And see all these holes that are in it, all these problems and all this and that and the other thing. And I'm like, can we all relax for a minute here? It's a solid fucking movie. I mean, are there problems? Maybe, sure. Is it a perfect movie? No, it's not. There's very few of them are perfect. There are a lot of people, there's a lot of criticism about how it's, some people feel like it was just a kind of a massive wrap up to WandaVision. There are a lot of people that felt like you needed to watch WandaVision before you saw this movie. I would say you didn't need to, but it certainly helped.
It would certainly help, yes.
It certainly helped. There's enough in the movie for you to understand the reasons and the motivations of the characters that you don't have to watch WandaVision, but it certainly helps.
If anything, I don't know that I would say it's just a wrap up of WandaVision. I would say it's a wrap up of it's a bridge movie. It really kind of wraps up everything from the Infinity War saga and introduces things that are going to be happening in the future. It's forming that bridge between what we saw before and what we're going to be seeing now, because it introduces a bunch of characters that we're going to see again.
Exactly. And that's what a lot of the movies have been lately, is that they're these bridge movies that are going to lead into other things, or the shows are bridges that are leading into other things. Look at Loki created so much.
Well, and now with speaking of Loki, the main villain in that is going to be back in Ant-Man and Wasp, Quantumania.
Correct. So, and I'm sure I wouldn't be surprised if we see Thor, if we see Love and Thunder lead into some other things and have, I mean, I've heard that Chris Hemsworth is willing to continue playing Thor, but I wouldn't be surprised if, and I don't see Natalie Portman like signing on to play, Lady Thor in the next 4 movies. I just don't see her doing it.
No, I don't think.
I think she's going to be in this movie. We're going to see her. She's going to be cool, and then she'll be done.
Yeah, and then she's going to give the power back, or something will happen something
will happen.
Yeah. Or she'll go back to her universe, because that may be what it is too. That's
the other
an alternate universe Thor.
There's some people guessing that
she's a variant.
Yeah, she's a variant. Or I'd like to see. I mean, how if that was
she's a variant.
If she's not a variant, then how did she get Mjolnir? How did they fix Mjolnir? That kind of.
Well, Mjolnir is also all cracked up, so.
Right, it does look like it's been repaired. So.
Now, see, I would like to see a Lady Thor Sylvie thing.
Okay. Sure. I think that Love and Thunder is going to be the movie that it's going to be a bit of a palate cleanser. I mean, it's going to be some serious shit because they've got Gore the God Butcher in this movie as the villain.
But it's also going to be a buddy movie from what we've seen.
Right.
It's Thor and Korg.
Right. There's going to be Thor and Korg. We're going to see the Guardians of the Galaxy. We're going to see Thor teaming up with Tessa Thompson, who plays the Valkyrie. We're going to see, I mean, we're going to see him going, fighting, or teaming up with Jane Foster. So I'm really excited, and it's right around the corner. It's July before we when that movie comes out. So I'm really excited. I just want people to fucking relax a little bit, just relax and enjoy these movies for what they are. They are immense, wonderful, entertaining, movies that resonate, that stick around with us in our minds and in our hearts. And I mean, Spider-Man No Way Home was absolutely fantastic, and honest to God's probably one of my favorite Spider-Man movies. And it was just so good. And I challenge anybody to really to tell me otherwise and give me your reasons why. Now, did it play on our nostalgia? Absolutely, it did. Absolutely, it did. But there's a lot of movies that do that, and a lot of movies are, and we're better for it.
Mm-hmm.
So people need to fucking relax. You need to understand that movies are not necessarily, they're not all here to be perfection, you know? So that's all I got to say about it. Because I'm exhausted. Fucking exhausted.
All right. Well, we should probably wrap things up.
We should probably wrap things up. Guys, thanks for joining us tonight. For joining us on a little bit later tonight. We were about 10, 15 minutes late into the show. Sorry about that again. My bad. But again, thanks for joining us. Guys, you can find us at all the places you can find quality podcasting. Guys, we are on the Google Play Store. We are on iTunes. We are on Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, iHeartRadio, the Odyssey app, and I think that's 6, right? Is that 6,
yeah,
7?
I wasn't counting.
I wasn't counting either, but we're at all the places you can find quality podcasting. Guys, we're here every Tuesday night at 8 o'clock, roughly. And Chris puts the episode up on YouTube a couple of days later. Ladies and gentlemen, check us out every other Friday for our D&D game, Tavern Nights. You definitely want to check us out on those nights. And then on the opposite Mondays, when we do our show, our kind of wrap up, talk about it show, which is
Tavern Talk.
Tavern Talk. Thank you. I try to make it as often as I can. It has been. I didn't get any caffeine until like 6 o'clock, and I just felt like I was in a fog most of the day. So
you can follow us on most of the social medias. We are on Facebook, Nerds with Alcohol Show. We are on Twitter at Drinking Nerds, Instagram Drinking Nerds, YouTube Drinking Nerds. I will get actually I'll probably get it up tonight. Last week's show I actually haven't put up on YouTube yet. I have it done. I meant to get it up over the weekend and things got away from me. This show will probably not be out on in podcast form until Friday sometime, because I don't know that I'm going to have time to work on it. I might have time to work on it tomorrow. Maybe not. But so if I can't get it on Thursday, it'll be out on Friday, but I've got a lot of work stuff coming up, and Thursday is going to be a really long work day for me. So, but I will get things out as quickly as possible.
You always do. You get them out as quickly as you can. You're a busy guy. We're both busy guys.
Yep.
Busy.
So
got a lot going on.
Yep. So, all right. Well, I think that's going to about do it.
That should about do it.
So on that note. Until next time.
Slancha.
Not great. I only had one glass tonight, actually. I forgot to grab another glass. So have a good week, everybody.
Good night.